Typhlosion fires off the blast burn, removing Cradily from the field of play, and it's all down to Pinsir to clean up. Pinsir hits the field of play, instantly going to put up that Protect Shield. The opponent fire off the blast burn, pivot back out into Samurott. Samurott going to find itself straight in and straight out. Close Combat picks up that one-hit KO. Back out comes Typhlosion. Pinsir going to fire off the next Close Combat, and that is going to be all she wrote. Welcome back to the channel. Yesterday I asked what content you'd like to see me post for the upcoming week. Shadow Pinsir gained a massive amount of support, so of course I had to put it to work. Speaking of work, that unfortunately somewhere I'll be heading in just a couple of hours for my fourth and final night shift, so after today we'll be back posting some longer content. However, for today's video, team building is nice and simple. Pinsir's a mono bug type that of course is going to be petrified of them common fire types running around. I'm talking about Talonflame, Skeledirge, Typhlosion. It's got a bug and fighter moves that it doesn't want to see Jellicent, so I've got two things in the back that can at least handle some of them threats. With all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, I lead Shadow Pinsir into Roserade. On paper, a type neutral matchup, however they have got access to Weather Wall Fire they'll get to after just 4 poison stings. I attempt to catch the Weather Wall Fire onto Lapras, my catch attempt unsuccessful, they farm to the Leaf Storm, a bait with a Weather Wall. And oh man, in battle number 1 we are already not off to the best start. There's nothing I hate more than shielding up a bait. Weather Wall Fire would have done very little damage to Lapras. The opponent sends out Skeledirge, I'm able to force my Protect Shield back. The opponent fire off the Torch Song, which is an easy tank for me, meaning I'm either going to flip switch or force the opponent all shields down. Lapras overfarms, fires off the next Sparkle Aria, forcing the final protection. The opponent looks for that farm down. Lapras says no, reaches the next Sparkle Aria, and just like that, we've got switch and shield advantage. For those of you wondering why Lapras has got awful IVs as well, it's actually non-XL. It's the one I built many seasons ago before XLs was even a thing. As I got switch advantage, we're going to send out Cradily to use it as the damage sponge. The opponent fire off the Leaf Storm, we then pivot out into Pinsir, and I'm willing to tank a Weather Ball. Now they've debuffed their own attack. Although as I say that, Pinsir buddy, where is your bulk? Out comes Lapras. We look for the kill shot. Full send of the Close Combat as they've got no shields. I can't believe that didn't knock out. I was expecting them to be straight in and straight out. Unfortunately, they were not. We reached the X-Scissor, moving Lapras from the field of play. Roserade gets minimal farm. Cradily reaches the Rock Tomb. And despite seeing an awful lead, we're able to take that game. GG's that opponent. Unlike a lot of content creators, when I shoutcast my own battles, I show them in the exact order that I played them, so you see me kind of figure the team out as the video progresses, as opposed to showcase all my brilliant wins we're going to get at the end of the video first. So there you actually saw me wanting to see how much an Incinerate did, and ouch, that did a lot. We then get Brave Birdie to the face, and I'm also going to say ouch again, but Lapras able to withstand the damage. Out comes Licky, far too thicky. I'm going to fire off the Ice Beams, it does do more, but unfortunately it's still unable to take back switch. Here you're going to see for the first example of just how glassy Pinsir is. Body Slam's been nerfed into oblivion, and it's still 2 shots Pinsir, which is frankly ridiculous. We then send out Cradily to catch the resisted Body Slam and look to start getting head and energy. The opponent not wanting to see the farm down, send back out Talonflame, revealing they must be weak in the back. The opponent only farmed up to the Fly. That couldn't be a Brave Bird, but despite this, I've got a horrible habit of dying with 2 Protect Shields. I'm going to invest 1 there and look to debuff them before eventually tanking a charge move somewhere further down the line. But as I say that, these neutral Incinerates are tearing through my HP. I contemplated tanking the next Fly and putting it all on Pinsir to clean up. But I'm actually going to invest the Protect Shield, recognising I don't want to put myself in Incinerate farm down range. I attempt to sack Pinsir, my catch attempt unsuccessful. The opponent pivots out into Licky just to feed me energy, and out comes Swampert. It all comes down to this. Does Close Combat 1-hit KO? It does not, and just like that we lose on the spot. Even if I'm somehow able to acid farm down a ground type, which certainly isn't something that's going to happen anytime soon. Leaving with a charge move. I've got a lower attack than Talonflame, so Talonflame would be able to win charge attack priority, and this one is going to end in defeat. GG's that opponent. They were my very first 2 battles with the team, and then battle number 3 we see Zapdos, and I thought, man, this is going to be a tough day at the office. We're going to pivot into Lapras, waste no time, go straight for the Sparkle Aria before the opponent reaches a Thunderbolt. Sparkle Aria forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. And at this point, I'm calling the bait. I've been baited once in this video. Nah, trainer. I'm not shielding that. Out comes Virizion. You can see here, I didn't hit the Ice Beam, and I'm intentionally not throwing. I want to force this energy. Because with shield advantage, I think I can do something. I don't want to give the opponent a massive farm down and start playing silly bait games with Pinsir, of course. The opponent does have access to Stone Edge, and I'm more than certain that Pinsir won't tank one particularly well. The opponent then just settled for a Leaf Blade, and this just sets up me the opportunity to massively overfarm. Again, the opponent doesn't farm to the Stone Edge, and this now puts me in a position that I really enjoy in. I can now Fury Cutter this into range when X-Scissor will be lethal. I'm then going to bank a charge move, and I'll win CMP tie against more or less everything in this meta. Even Zapdos, buddy, your 175 attack is pathetic compared to Pinsir's 180. I pivot into Cradily, and the opponent opts to stay in, revealing they might be once again weak to Cradily in the back. This is the second consecutive battle where teams seem to be struggling against Cradily, which is kind of random as it's ranked number 1 on PB Poke. I pause a turn, ensuring the Rock Tomb lands on its intended target. The opponent put up that final Protect Shield and alarm bells are ringing. Cradily going to invest the final Protect Shield, blocking up the Drill Peck. Again, we're going to overfarm, pause, ensuring the Rock Tomb lands on its intended target. It's going to be high Zapdos, by Zapdos. The third revealed to be Swampert. Cradily going to get some redemption. Swampert going to be straight in and straight out. Grass Knot picks up that one-hit KO and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Samurott in the lead position. The opponent's going to pace at the same speed to the Hydro Cannon and my X-Scissor. So we're going to catch the Hydro Cannon onto Lapras where it is resisted damage. Once again, banking the charge move in the process. I really like my team structure today. Lapras seems to be baiting out all these Virizions, meaning Cradily's free in the back. After tanking the Hydro Cannon, Lapras still shrugs off the Leaf Blade, reaches the Ice Beam, and Ice Beam rocks Virizion deep into the red health range. If they're in one Fury Cutter range, they're actually not going to get this move off. We actually get denied, which is pretty annoying, but it kind of is what it is. Leaf Blade, not too threatening. You can see that one Fury Cutter actually wouldn't have knocked him out. It did require 2. Out comes Typhlosion. We pivot into Cradily, and once again, the opponent finds himself core broken. The opponent farms to the Blast Burn. Of course, I get Thunder Punch baited, but they continue to stay in, so we're definitely forcing our Protect Shield back. We fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. The opponent continues to overfarm, allowing Cradily to reach the next Rock Tomb, and as soon as this landed, I thought the GG's trainer, Pinsir's going to close the show. Typhlosion farms up to 100 energy. They fire off the Blast Burn, which removes Cradily from the field of play, but Pinsir still has a shield to hide behind, and Pinsir hits like a truck. We're going to invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the Blast Burn. The opponent pivots out into Samurott. Samurott going to be straight in and straight out. Close Combat picks up that one-hit KO. I'm going to reach the next Close Combat before the Incinerate registers. Pinsir going to claim back-to-back victims and take that game. Heading into the next battle, the Tofflees continue. Skeleturge, probably the worst thing Pinsir can see. The bug and the fighting damage are double resisted by Skeleturge's Fire and Ghost typing. We say switch into Lapras. The opponent fire off the Shadow Ball and then send out Greninja. Well, this isn't going fantastically, is it? My Psywave's double resisted by Greninja's Dark typing. However, the opponent lets me reach back-to-back Sparkling Arias, which isn't going to knock out, but is going to leave him low. The opponent overfarm, fire off the Night Slash. Night Slash will be moving me from the field of play. And they're going to send out Pinsir. Pinsir going to be tasked with tanking a Hydro Cannon. This is the Ultra League. We will survive 1. Not well, but 1 is survivable. I save Pinsir as the third shield and send out Cradily to get a 1 acid run and start. The opponent sends out Primarina, and again Cradily completely core breaks the opponent. There you can see we've got a very nice frame drop. Come on, Scopely. Niantic were terrible. At least can you attempt to fix this bloody game. Out comes Skeleturge. Skeleturge going to be greeted with the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb not only forced the Protect Shield, but also debuffs their attack. Cradily rapidly running out of HP, and I think this game's over. Wait, they don't have Torch Song. We're going to farm up, make the catch, back onto Pinsir. Disarming Voice removes me from the field of play. As long as I survive 1 Incinerate, which we do, this game is going to end in victory. The first Rock Tomb forces the opponent's final protection on 1 acid off the next Rock Tomb. Who was worried? Clearly I was, but able to take that game. In the next battle, you guessed it, yet another lost lead. Again, we're going to say switch into Lapras. The opponent farm up a small amount of energy before sending out Gliscopod. This opponent's actually an interesting moveset. While Air Release isn't a particularly good move, Virizion is hella common, and that is double super effective, and I bet it catches a few people sleeping. Lapras fakes the Skull Bash, obtaining me a shield advantage here in the mid-game matchup, and now that is something we can certainly cook with. At this point, I'm just going for Sparkling Arias. I don't have Skull Bash, I just want damage. We land the next one, getting the opponent down to around a third health, and Lapras still not done. Going to reach 1 further Sparkling Aria, doing almost all the remaining HP on this Gliscopod. Lapras putting in so much work in the mid-game matchup. Aerial Ace removes me from the field of play. Pinsir able to Fury Cut a farm down before the next Aerial Ace is reached. We pivot into Cradily, and out comes Roserade. The opponent doesn't even farm up to a potential Leaf Storm. Oh boy, trainer, this could end in a 2-shield flex if you don't at least look to fake the big move. Cradily fires off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb, monstrous damage and debuffs their attack. The opponent isn't going to reach the Leaf Storm. We've got 2 shields. Am I going to use them? No, I'm not. Unless the opponent farm up to a move that's worth me shielding, I am not respecting shit. Back out comes Zapdos. Zapdos going to be greeted with the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb force the opponent's final Protect Shield, and this is game over. Of course, Pinsir Zapdos isn't a great matchup. We've got a monstrous attack, and close combat is going to get us over the line. We farm up, throw the close combat on the charge attack priority. Pinsir is a Zapdos counter confirmed, and there's 2 shields saved in the bank for next season. Heading into the next battle, we see Bellybolt in the lead position. This is definitely a matchup where I'm going to look to chip and dip. I'm going to fire off a charge move. The opponent now receiving the energy for that parabolic charge, which I'm going to attempt to catch on Cradily. The opponent ever horny for that defense buff, throw the parabolic charge instantly, and that is a very, very easy tank for Cradily. Out comes Venusaur. Even with the Snuck Acid, the opponent is able to win the charge attack priority, pasting the Frenzy Plant at the same speed we reach the Rock Tomb. Cradily withstands the damage, fires off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb does land. The opponent looking for the Vine Whip farm down, recognise they're going to be unable to get it, and look to dump their energy. This Venusaur is now nothing but free energy for Pinsir. Pinsir going to hit the field of play, commit to the Fury Cutter farm down, leaving with residual energy good to go. Back out comes Bellybolt. Bellybolt going to be greeted with the X-Scissor. Is the opponent willing to double shield here? They tank the first. Pinsir able to reach the second one on the charge attack priority, and Pinsir finally starting to find its stride, putting in so much work. X-Scissor removes them from the field of play. Out comes Sceptile. Sceptile would normally have a pretty good matchup here, but the opponent with a shield disadvantage. We force in the Ice Beam. The opponent looks to call the bait, and that is back-to-back 2 shield flexes. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, once again, we see Skeleturge in the lead position. We overcome the last one, and we look to do the same here. The opponent says switch into Virizion without chipping and dipping. Lapras full sends the Ice Beam. Forcing the Protect Shield. The opponent tries to double kick me into a range where one Leaf Blade will be lethal. Leaf Blade gets Lapras low, unfortunately unable to reach the next Ice Beam. However, we have once again forced us a shield advantage here in the mid-game matchup. The opponent farms to the Stone Edge Trainer. If you've got it, throw it. The opponent go for the Leaf Blade bait. That is a huge call on my part. Jamie Finn rediscovering his balls. The opponent fires off back-to-back Leaf Blades. Pinsir tanks both, over farms, fires off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor from this range will be moving them from the field of play. And let's hope Cradily with a shield advantage can cook the back line. Skeleturge re-enters the arena. I am going to invest in protection. It's likely a Torch Song, but better to be safe than sorry. Out comes a Mud Slap Heliolisk. If they were on Volt Switch, I think we'd be home and dry, but this now makes things more complicated as these Mud Slaps are hitting for neutral. I've done in the Rock Tomb. I need to just try and acid farm this thing down. Can we do that before they reach the next break-in swipe? Unfortunately, we cannot, so I'm going to burn the final Protect Shield here. Cradily going to burn the final Protect Shield, leaving with an absolute boatload of energy. Back out comes Skeleturge, 2 acids, and the Rock Tomb for optimal fast move timing. The opponent recognised they need to tank one, tank the first, we then make the catch, back onto Pinsir. Is it necessary? Not really. We could have probably Fury Cutter farm down or Acid farm down, but either way, the game ends the same with Jamie Finn able to emerge victorious. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Toxtricity in the lead position. Interestingly, this opponent isn't running Acid. Whilst water types are super common in this meta, I think if you're going to use this Pokemon, you should definitely opt for Acid, as Acid just gives you a lot more neutral play overall and does generate more energy. We say switch into Cradily, the opponent fire off the Power Up Punch. I think this is just a waste of energy. Power Up Punch is super effective, but isn't doing much of anything, and the Sparks are still going to be resisted regardless. The opponent then sends out Virizion. We're going to fire off the Rock Tomb. A Rock Tomb won't do much of anything, but after debuffing them, we should survive any one move. The opponent fire off the Sacred Sword. Cradily withstands the damage and unfortunately doesn't get off the next Rock Tomb. I didn't throw at the best time when Virizion was switched in, but it's kind of neither here nor there. We still have to throw an X-Scissor at this thing regardless, which I do here, and X-Scissor removes them from the field of play. It's just always nice to throw at good timing, and there my timing wasn't the best. Back out comes Toxtricity, so nice for the opponent to send this back out as I've got a water type in the back that isn't going to fancy tanking the damage. I actually lost CMP there. I was expecting Pinsir to be everything in this meta in charge attack priority. But Toxtricity's actually got a 181 attack compared to my 180. So I guess it's IV dependent, but my Pinsir's got pretty good PvP IVs. Out comes Cradily. Cradily greeted with the X-Scissor. X-Scissor forced the final Protect Shield. And here comes Lapras. Again, any one move is survivable. The opponent throws the Rock Tomb, Lapras shrugs off the damage, looks to reach the Ice Beam. Debuff, this Ice Beam won't be lethal, but we'll put him in a range where I can either Fury Cutter farm down or Psywave farm down afterwards. The opponent recognises the game's over and they concede the match. In the next battle, we see Virizion in the lead position. The opponent instantly retreat into Tentacruel and I opt to send out Lapras. Lapras hitting for super effective with the Psywaves. However, in this meta, almost all Tentacruel do have Sludge Wave, so I'd probably say Tentacruel's favoured. Lapras just going to fire off the Sparkling Aria. Sparkling Aria forces the Protect Shield, and Shield Advantage is certainly something I can cook with. You can see Sparkling Aria isn't particularly threatening whatsoever, doesn't do much, but the Psywaves do really chunk over time. The opponent clearly wants Switch Advantage, which is fine, but if they want that, that's going to cost them both Protect Shields. I'm going to block up the Scald, fire off the Sparkling Aria, and let's see if the opponent is going to go all in on the big squid. The opponent does exactly that. They're going to be able to farm down. However, Cradily can just come out and absorb the energy. We've already seen Sludge Wave and Scald, so they clearly don't have Blizzard. You can only have 2 charge moves. They fire off the Sludge Wave. Cradily able to Acid farm down. Now I'm spamming the switch. Let's go, Pinsir. Let's go, buddy. Out comes Belly Bolt. Pinsir gonna fire off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor gonna do some decent damage, around half their health. Even with the opponent buff up their defense, the next one should still be lethal. Pinsir looks to close the show. Gonna invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Parabolic Charge. Pinsir gonna overfarm once again. We get a frame drop, but let's try not to complain. X-Scissor removes them from the field of play. Back out comes Virizion. We're going to fire off the first X-Scissor. X-Scissor hits for neutral and a lot of neutral damage at that. The opponent then farm up. We're able to make the catch. Back onto Cradily. The opponent fire off the Sacred Sword. Oh boy, this is going to get close. It's going to be a race. Pinsir able to reach the X-Scissor on the charge attack priority. But is X-Scissor enough to knock out? Of course it is. Get that Virizion off my screen and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, Pinsir into Squidward. It's a no thank you from me as I'm fully walled and a save switch into Lapras. The opponent opts to stay in, going for some chip and dip. Acid Spray, come on. I think Tentacruel, without a doubt, is one of the best Pokemon in this meta. However, please run Acid, Scald and Sludge Wave. Do not run Acid Spray. What the heck does Acid Spray do for you? It double debuffs my defense, but Lapras still shrugging off these quick moves like it's nothing. Tentacruel's actually got a lot of viable movesets. If you're really horny to debuff people, run Poison Jab as your quick move. It is the most oppressive quick move in Tentacruel's arsenal, but still I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're a degenerate, it is an option. Lapras able to fire off one further Sparkling Aria. What the heck is in the back that you're so weak and you're 2-shielding this squid? We're going to send out Cradily. The opponent once again fire off the Acid Spray. Trainer, come on man. Throw your other charge move. Out comes Typhlosion. So it kind of makes sense why the opponent didn't want to pivot out. We fire off the Rock Tomb. A Rock Tomb lands. If this is their best answer, Thunder Punch is resisted, but I am double debuff from that Acid Spray. I'm shield at the Thunder Punch. The opponent sends out Gastrodon. Oh boy. Cradily going to absolutely sweep the back line, and this degenerate opponent gets exactly what they deserve. Pinsir going to Fury Cutter farm down Typhlosion, and we take that game. What a strange battle. Heading into the next battle, we see Shiny Virizion in the lead position. This opponent opting to stay in. Of course, I do need to be mindful the opponent might look to throw a Stone Edge. We end up throwing the X-Scissor winning charge attack priority. X-Scissor forced to Protect Shield. I'm going to respect it. If the opponent's staying in, I think they've likely got Stone Edge. The opponent full send the Stone Edge, which is a huge Protect Shield for me. The opponent then pivots out into Belly Bolt. I'm going to bank a bucket of energy and hard punish with Cradily. The opponent doesn't go straight for the Parabolic Charge, meaning I can land this Rock Tomb before the opponent inevitably buff up their defense. Potentially could throw a Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon would hit harder, but everything's resisted, and Cradily, if I'm being brutally honest, just doesn't give a shit about anything this Belly Bolt's going to do. The opponent does fire off the Zap Cannon. Cradily overfarms, fires off the Rock Tomb. A Rock Tomb removes them from the field of play. Back out comes Virizion. Virizion looks for the double kick farm down, unable to get it before the Rock Tomb's reach. We now need to be mindful this opponent has got so much energy. They've actually thrown 7 double kicks. However, we've got the higher attack. We've got a charge move banked. I fire off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor forced to Protect Shield. And you can see that it wasn't CMP. The opponent paused a turn, looking to see what comes in. So I could have thrown the next X-Scissor, removing them from the field of play. The opponent once again full send the Stone Edge, send out Tentacruel, and here comes Lapras. As we're in a shieldless game, of course, I don't need to fake a Skull Bash. If I haven't got it, we're just going to go straight Sparkling Aria in this matchup. Again, the opponent fire off the Sludge Wave. Lapras withstands the damage. Lapras going to outpace to the next Sparkling Aria. While this won't be lethal, it will leave the opponent low. I'm looking at my switch clock, seeing can the opponent pivot out? They cannot. They're going to have to dump energy. Scold will be moving me from the field of play. Back out comes Virizion. I'm wasting no time. Just going to knock him out immediately with the X-Scissor. X-Scissor moves Virizion from the field of play. We're going to Fury Cutter Farm down Tentacruel and take that game. In the next battle, see Typhlosion in the lead position. Another awful lead. Would you have it any other way? We say switch into Lapras. The opponent farm to the Blast Burn. While Thunder Punch is super effective, Blast Burn does do more as it's a completely busted move. Out comes Swampert. Lapras going to release the Sparkle Aria. Unfortunately, the opponent is going to pace at the same speed to their first charge move as we reach the next Sparkle Aria, meaning I am going to get denied this energy. So I'm looking at Swampert's health. I'm thinking, can I one shield and fully Fury Cutter farm him down? If I can, I think I'm in a good spot. That is the play I'm going to go for. So I'm going to shoot at the Hydro Cannon. Can we get that Fury Cutter farm down before the next move's reached? No, we cannot. The opponent on fractional HP, able to reach the next Hydro Cannon, so I'm forced to throw the X-Scissor. Down goes Swampert, back out. Comes Typhlosion. We are going to throw the X-Scissor bait, force that Protect Shield and dip out into Cradily. The opponent farms to the Blast Burn, which I will be respecting. The opponent falls in the Blast Burn, which is a huge shield for me, and out comes Victory Bell. Victory Bell going to be debuffed with the Rock 2, and this game is going to get quite complicated. I think what I need to do is make use of the misaligned timer. There's a lot of variables going through my head. First, I'm thinking, do I survive 2 Leaf Blades? Yes, I do. You can see here, my finger's near the switch button. I attempted to CMP sack. Unfortunately, timer isn't up. We survived this Leaf Blade, so I'm going to bank this Rock Tomb, pivot into Pinsir. I'm going to get the Fury Cutter farm down. When Typhlosion returns, I'm going to throw this Close Combat as suboptimal timing, hoping that Incinerate knocks me out, which it does, meaning we've got the Rock Tomb banked, and somehow we're able to escape with a dub. What a win. GG's to that opponent. It's always nice to pick up a big 5-0, but I think I very much deserved that one, as that was a very tough game to win. We've got a couple more battles. I actually went an 11-game win streak, and these are the 2 battles from the next set. We see Pinsir into Lapras. We farm up, catch the Sparkle Aria onto our own Lapras, where it isn't going to do much of anything. The opponent then pivots out into Virizion. You know the drill. A full send the Ice Beam and put the ball in the opponent's court. I survive a Leaf Blade. They survive an Ice Beam. The opponent could shield. They could tank the damage. Let's see what the opponent's thinking. Lapras fires off the Ice Beam. Ice Beam rocks the opponent low. Lapras able to farm down afterwards, winning the 0 shield scenario. The opposing Lapras re-enters the arena, gets very minimal farm as my Lapras were on fractional HP. I send back out Pinsir, and you better believe we are full sending. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? Close combat. Get that Lapras off my screen. Out comes Belly Bolt. We're going to fire off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor forced to Protect Shield. We're going to show him Cradily, and that, my friend, is all she wrote. What are you going to do, trainer? Parabolic charge your way through this matchup? I highly doubt it. Parabolic charge does absolutely nothing. The opponent recognises they cannot win the game, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, yet another fire type in the lead position. Honestly, how many fire types we've seen? It's frankly been ridiculous, but somehow I think I can actually recommend this team, as you've seen numerous tough lead after numerous tough leads, but we seem to be pulling off the dubs. Out comes Glisserpod. We're going to fire off the Sparkle Aria. Sparkle Aria doesn't do much of anything. The opponent then going to trap me into the CMP tie. But that's fine, as this move doesn't knock out. I know this Lapras really well. I've been using it since 2020. Sparkle Aria won't be lethal. You can see here the opponent stops tapping. I'm going to stop tapping as well. I know the opponent isn't going to give me switch advantage. The opponent like, I'm still here. I'm like, yeah, trainer, me too. However, we're just going to send out Pinsir. Pinsir going to get the Fury Cutter farm down. Back out comes Typhlosion, and stay in school, kids, and learn to count. We catch the Thunder Punch back onto Cradily, and just like that, we are back in the game. Out comes Samurott. Despite me being a grass type and then being a water type, they're using a bug type quick move and also got access to Mega Horn. So I'd say it's more of a neutral matchup than a commanding one. I recognise here the opponent might look to call the bait. We fall in the grass, not get that Samurott off my screen. Back out comes Typhlosion. Cradily gonna fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb will be forcing the opponent's first Protect Shield. Can the opponent incinerate farm ground Cradily? They cannot. We're able to reach the Rock Tomb. The opponent forced to dump energy. Thunder Punch removes me from the field of play. Back out comes Pinsir. Pinsir still with a shield to hide behind. Gonna be investing it here. Pinsir gonna be looking for the double up. Pinsir able to reach the double X-Scissor. You know the drill. The first will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent has the Thunder Punch. We've got the higher attack. Pinsir gonna close the show and end today's video in style. GG's and thanks for playing. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's video. Huge shout out to everyone that recommended me using Pinsir. My gosh, is this thing fun in the Ultra League Summer Cup. A huge thank you to everyone that recommended me using Pinsir. I think for me to play better, I need to be challenged, and you can see when I finally figured the team out towards the end of the video, we was absolutely cooking. So firstly, let me know what Pokemon you want me to use next. Secondly, if you did make it all the way to the end of the video, feel free to wish my dog a happy birthday. I've got a Staffordshire Bull Terrier and she turns 8 today. She's old, she's grumpy, but she'd very much appreciate it. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. A link to my battle submission form is down below. And a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.